things,
exactly.
things like that. Thank you.
I love your accent, Leo. The advantage you have is you have a very good accent. Because where are you from?
I was born in Argentina.
Yes.
But my family was Italian, so I am Argentinian by birth, Italian by blood, and soon German by choice.
Interesting.
Very good. Interesting. So welcome, Leo, to this show where supposedly we have team. No, I have a co-host. We started this show with my good friend Tim Brownson. But sometimes he doesn't show up because he has very, very important stuff to do, like massages or spas or hair implants or this kind of shitty things. This is for your team, by the way. You bastard, you're not there. Anyway, so time to time, I will ask a friend to come and save me. Thank you, Raz, for being there as well.
You're welcome.
Raz, magnificent Raz from the Relentless Movement with an impeccable English, right? And you need to, whoever is listening to this podcast, you need to check Raz's new website, the Relentless Movement. I love your website, the way that you did it, Raz. So it's a good thing.
It's 7 days old today.
Yeah, so good stuff.
She's 7 days old. Thank you.
But you're not the star of the show, Raz, so shut up. So, yeah, the star of the show...
I was told I was, but okay.
Raz, the only thing you have to do is when we speak something wrong in English, you push the button and we hear the...
Well, I have the button right here. It's going to be pushed every time you make a mistake.
That's good.
No, please, come into the conversation.
No, of course she will come. She's so smart. She's so smart. I love you.
And also I interrupt a lot, so...
Yeah, that's true. So, Leonardo, we have you on the show. Leonardo How do you pronounce your last name? Sorry, man. I don't want to make it...
Lospennato.
Leonardo.
Yes. Lospennato.
Are we already doing the podcast?
Absolutely. This is
like
real stuff. This is raw. We don't rehearse. We don't do. We can do anything.
This is the thing. Lospennato in Italian means he without feathers.
He without feathers.
Yeah, so someone that doesn't have any feathers. Why should anyone have feathers? I don't know, but that's what it means. It's a pretty funny name when you
like a chicken. You mean?
Exactly. Here in Germany, they say, "Oh, Lospennato." It sounds fantastic. Sounds like
very musical,
like an Italian prince or something. But in Italy, when they say, "What's your name?" I say Lospennato. Wow!
Just the guys without feathers. Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
I must say I'm quite comforted. I'm happy you don't have feathers. Actually, it would worry me if you came onto the podcast and you had feathers.
Exactly.
It would be quite strange.
Actually,
in fact, I got this Woody Allen book called Without Feathers just because it was my own name, and I loved it. Yeah, many years ago. Fantastic.
Actually, I'm disappointed myself. I would love you to have some feathers. It will be like this colorful, expansionist, like character. Like a diva thing.
Like an angel or something.
That would be cool. Anyway.
Like a diva, yeah. Exactly.
Like a diva. But we have Tim. Tim Bronson is our diva. So Tim again. So my course.
Exactly.
Anyway. So I've heard about you I've read an article because I'm very, very interested about organization management stuff. And your book, The Da Vinci Curse, was borrowed, on this article. So the title of the article was The Da Vinci Curse. Yeah, your book over there. This book. Buy this book. It's a very good book. I haven't read it for shit, man. But this is why I wanted you to be on the show, because I love the theme of this book, right? And it's about the Da Vinci Curse, life design for people with too many interests and talents. Meaning, and that resonated for me a lot, because, hear me out. I'm a guitarist, okay? Look here behind. You will see here. This is my collection of guitars, right? I'm doing a podcast. I worked in IT. I worked in HR. I've tried to write a book. So I'm passionate by so many things, right? I've tried once to start to become a magician as well. As sometimes I tried to learn magic as well. That's something that I was interested in. So I have many passions, like this. And it feels like almost a burden, because I would like to do things and I don't have time, or I feel like I'm not a professional. I'm not an expert in any of this field. So that's why I wanted you to be on this show, because I wanted the cure, basically. Thank you. Cure me, please. try to tell me that I'm normal. But anyway, so, and before we jump in the subject, can you just give me a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and all these kind of things,
I am the proverbial Da Vinci Curse. Yeah. I mean, ideally, the Da Vinci Curse person is a person who has ideally many talents, but even if you don't have the talent, you have the interests. You want to do everything, and that's me. I am an engineer in computer sciences. I have sing in a chorus. I'm a brown belt judo. I made karate, taekwondo. I made a jump with I don't know, the high peak sport, with horses. I made whatever. They play the violin, whatever you think. I did it. I did it. I was there. But the thing is that a point arrives in which you feel that you are spread too thin. Like in the Lord of the Rings. Bilbo says, I feel thin, like butter spread over too much butter, and that's the problem with people with this thing. I mean, especially in a world that is dominated by specialists, people who are I think this society today tends to idolize people, but if you see what maybe many years ago or centuries ago, the heroes who were the heroes, I don't know, Ulysses and Einstein, I don't know. Now the heroes are people mostly in entertainment, But I don't think they are real heroes. But the actual heroes are hidden with other things. But the thing is that they are specialists. If you see, if you take a look at them, and how do you work this out? I mean, you like a lot of things. But the chances are that you will not succeed in any of them, because in any particular thing that you may start or get into, there will be some other guy who is doing that with much more focus than you, and they will surpass you and do it better than you. So you can just maybe relax and say, okay, I will enjoy life. That was my attitude at some point. Okay, I like a lot of things. I am a modern Da Vinci, even if I don't have the talent or the genius of Da Vinci, but I share the name, at least Leonardo. But I will enjoy life, and I will do whatever I want. And then I wasn't go very far anywhere. I had to look for a solution for this. I found it, and that's why I wrote this book.
So you mean by you were passionate by so many things, but at the end of the day you had to choose something. You had to choose something that passionate you the most, or something like that. That's what you did, or
no? The thing is that I knew that if I continue to pursue every interest that I had that arise in my consciousness and my mind and everything, I would end up being an eternal amateur, Like the American says, I would be ending up being a jack of all trades and master of none. Like I think they say, and I didn't want that. I did not want that. I wanted to be, I don't know, to reach some success, some real success in one thing or two or whatever, and that's why I had to. Yeah.
So how do you, when you're not just multi-interests, but multi-talented, where you have many things that you are actually good at, not just mediocre at lots of things, how do you then decide the one thing that you'll focus on?
Yeah, this is the thing. There's a competition between the things that interest you are not necessarily the same things you are talented at. And these two things are also not necessarily related to what can actually give you money, or success, or a name, or professional satisfaction in a more practical, everyday way. So you have to take these three things. Okay, what I am good at, what I would like to do and what can give me money. And then you start combining these two. Say, there is a chart in the book. You say, okay, if something that gives me money and I don't like it very much, but it gives me money, that's your typical job, your typical day job. You do it because you need to pay the bills. But maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe you want to do something else. But your interest, maybe you are passionate about something, but you haven't reached a level or an expertise or anything about it. And actually you cannot make money yet about it. And maybe you only pursue it as a hobby. Okay. And then how talented are you at these things that you like? If you suck at them, because I like to sing, I don't sing very well. I sing it in the shower. So for me, that is a private hobby. I do it alone for me and myself, and that's it. And I derive only pleasure from it, and that's it. And I don't expect any success or any transcendence or anything like that. But what happened if, for example, if you start making guitars, which was my case, I started building guitars, and then at some point they started to come up pretty nice, and it stopped being a private hobby where I made guitars for myself, and then suddenly I had a guitar which I could sell, and I was lucky because in the guitar making I found, and this is the solution to the Vinci Curse, to find something that not only combines your pleasure, your talents, and your practical need for money or income, but that also combines your interests. So it's a solution, not an easy solution. It's complicated. But in the guitars, for example, I have a lot of disciplines combined. I have art, I have electronics, I have woodworking, I have management because I have to manage my own business. I have the opportunity to teach because I have students that wants to make guitar with me. I mean, this is the solution to the conundrum. How do you find a thing that is complex enough as to satisfy your multiple interests, but also has this practical dimension of maybe at some point giving you money and giving you the chance to get better and better and better. So the challenge is renewed, and you don't get bored very quickly.
It's very interesting because I'm a coach as well, by the way. I forgot to tell that, but I'm a coach as well. So I'm having clients, and all my clients are professionals who very successful professional, but they hate their job. They hate their jobs, but they are very, they have an income, they have a very nice life. And this morning, I had a client and she used a metaphor. She said, I'm a butterfly. I'm just going from flowers to flowers to these flowers to these flowers. And I like doing pearls, like doing jewelries with pearl, making jewelries with pearls. And I'm like teaching, and I would like to coach. And I'm right now I'm working in law, and at the same time, this is exactly what you describe: is the passion, the money, the interest, what you're good at. And these things are so difficult for everyone at the moment. I think like this, is just, we have our day jobs, and we're not satisfied. But we have this fear of, but what else can I do now? I'm passionate by this, but I have this fear. I don't want to do it. And at the same time, you say, well, but maybe you can try and become a professional, as you said. But maybe, and I can see that almost every time with my clients. And to be honest, there's no easy solution here. So there's no easy solution to me.
The thing is that for the big subjects of life, I think that the solution has to come to a price. You cannot redesign your life from one day to the other. You have to go through a path, As I said, you start as a private hobby, then you test there if you like it, how good you are, how good are you at doing that and everything. And then you go to a public hobby where you can make friends, where you can go to conventions, when you have some more space and more involvement. And then one day, ideally, if you do a hobby, it's because you like it really. So to some point, it's a passion for you. and ideally you will be able to turn this hobby into your profession. And at least that was my personal experience, you know. But you're right. I think that we live in a society with a lot of conventions and expectations, and sort of the word is defaults. You know, what's the default? What is the default of a man or a woman? Okay, you meet a person, ideally of the opposite sex, and you, Ras, I know that you are an expert in this matter, and your life experiences are much different from this. But let me explain my personal expectations in the society, and I grew up, no? Then you it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you stay 7 years with this person, and then you marry, and then you have kids, and then you get a job, and then you are promoted to supervisor, and then to manager, and then the top of the dream is to be a CEO. Everyone's want to be a CEO. Why? We don't need CEOs. Why is Steve Jobs considered a hero? Why? We need more Picassos. We need more, I don't know, more Chicholinas. We need more people who makes, I don't know, things that.
I love it.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree. Totally agree with you.
More Gandhis and more, I don't know, people who follow other passions, which are not being a multimillionaire, driving an expensive car with a luxury watch in your wrist, and you know.
I think that, you know, when you dig into somebody like Steve Jobs, or whoever is the equivalent of Steve Jobs and is still alive, their objective in the beginning isn't motivated by money alone. It is motivated by other things. So Steve Jobs was obsessed with good design and having the best design for whatever he was making, and he was probably obsessed with new technologies and breaking the rules, and so he had motivations that were not money related. But you're right, there are people who want the power, the status, and then all of the material things that come along with it.
That worked for. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the question I was going to ask you is: so you've written a book, and your book looks at people that have multiple talents, multiple interests. What do you think is the difference between somebody who falls into that category and somebody who has one focus? What's the main difference between the two?
Yeah. By the way, you're right. Steve Jobs was a very talented person, and that worked for him. The problem is that we want to emulate that. Probably that is not our destiny or our talent. You know, what's the difference between a person with a lot of talents and a person with focus? I think that the person with focus has it much easier. You know, I mean, there's people who at 8 years old, they know that they want to be a world-class violinist, and they start working, and they don't end up being the world. They don't end up being Paganini, but they end up playing in an orchestra and living this dream, and they probably don't have much interest for other things. And then there is us, you know, this mixture of we like everything, but we are not totally passionate by anything. And we could do, because we have some, let's say, some base traits, you know. If you're a person who likes to learn, if you're a person who enjoys discovering new things, I mean, you will be fascinated by the world around us because it's fantastic, you know, it's a marvelous world. And you will keep finding things to do and to pursue okay, but you, at some point, you have to stop, and you have to choose something. You know, the challenge is how to choose something that doesn't end up limiting this
choosing the right thing, I suppose, isn't it?
Exactly. Because that's the challenge, you know.
I have a question actually for you, Raz. You know, what did you wanted to do when you were 8? You know, did you had your
my life plan?
Life plan, something like you were passionate, or because?
You know, when I was a child, I had no expectations. My parents had no expectations of what I should be, and so in turn, I had no expectations of myself. So when I was a child, I was one day I wanted to be a hairdresser, the next day I wanted to be a teacher, the third day I wanted to be a fashion designer. I didn't have any direct thing. Yeah. But when I was a teenager, I enjoyed writing, and it was writing for me was a good escape from, as a teenager whose life is easy. So it was easy for me to manage my emotions and funnel my emotions into my writing. So I was an incredibly depressed teenager. My writing was very dark. But then I never really thought it could turn into a career. Yeah. So in my 20s, I just worked for businesses and became a project manager. And it was just, I was floating. I didn't have any direction. So as a child, I had no clue what to do. But I didn't fall into, I would say, the traditional multi-passionate category of people, because even though I had lots of interests, I didn't actually have lots of talents. I enjoyed music a lot, but I had no, and still have no, musical talent. I enjoyed clothes and fashion, but I didn't really have any fashion talent. I enjoyed writing, but I couldn't see a career path. And so I felt quite lost because I didn't really have any talents to draw on. And then I just fell back into writing, and suddenly it's something that I focus on. But now I've discovered new talents that I could easily get distracted by. But I think when you started speaking, Leo, the thing that I was thinking about whilst also listening to you, because I was multitasking, isn't your passions in life and which passion you follow based on the phase of life that you're in? So today you are a producer of musical instruments, so you make guitars amongst other string instruments. In 10 years, you could do something different. So you could follow a different passion. So isn't there a case to say that, yes, you're multi-passionate, but that doesn't mean that if you choose one passion today, you leave the rest for the rest of your life. You could choose one today, and that could be the next 15 years of your life, and then you move on to something else.
Yes, the thing is that there are two ways to do this that I can come up with right now. No, either you are lucky and you find a way to evolve in your talents and your profession, and so. For example, Ken Wilber, this is an American philosopher. He says that the key to evolution, not only biological but also personal, I think, is to include and transcend. You include what you already have, and you transcend that, and you become something else. And then in the next step, you include this new thing and transcend it again, and then you're evolving that way. So if you see for example, my life is the one I can talk with some knowledge about. Is you see, okay, you studied this career, and then you changed like this. You were a journalist. You were an engineer, and it looks like a pretty zigzaggy path, But if you look at the patterns underlying that, I had, maybe it was unconscious, maybe I was just lucky. I was incorporating things from different areas, and then all of that at some point in my life coalesced in some activity or some complex, but nonetheless pretty specialized things that I call my profession, the things that I do, or my profession, my portfolio, let's say, a portfolio of activities, and I learned from everything I did. Yeah. If you're not so lucky, let me tell you the second alternative. Maybe you are not so lucky, and you are a 45-year-old accountant who discovered that you hate accountancy or whatever the name is, and you are married with a person that you don't love, and you have 3 children that I don't know, is like us. You have a duty to them, and a lot of things that's a difficult thing, and especially in these difficult situations, I think that a redesign of your life is particularly important, because otherwise you are condemned to live a life that will end up pretty soon, and you will get no satisfaction, But you have to look for a way to do it.
My very first job was in a accountant firm, actually. My very first job, and I stayed 1 year and I resigned immediately, right? But
I said Olivia, I said accountancy just an example.
No, but I agree. I
have friends who are excellent accountants, and they love that, and they won't change for anything.
No, but I agree with you so much. Now I don't know what to say, but the thing is, to me, you need to, especially now, is to be able also to have some flexibility. I don't believe that now you'll be able to only stay in one job, in one profession, especially how things are moving, technology is evolving, knowledge is evolving. And actually, this article that I mentioned at the very beginning, where I discovered you, all this article was based on today. It's not possible to stay in one eternal position, and maybe all these talented, multi-talented people, they are the ones who will have a chance in the future, because they have this possibility to go to different careers. Basically, they have this flexibility and go to do this and this and that. And this is basically what happened to me. I'm the perfect example. I said I spent 1 year in accountancy, then in IT, and then in HR, and then I will do coaching. But that's basically because maybe there's a common factor, and as you said, you just pick. It's not like something which is totally disconnected. You build on, and this is what I feel. I recognize very much what you say. You build on what you learn and you evolve. So yeah, you just clarify something to me. My career, this is not an accident. This is not a random accident. This is something which is a path, actually. Thank you, Leo. You just coached me, actually. So I feel better. Anyway.
I say, no, I said accountancy is just an example, but for example, another thing. For example, supermarkets. This example, supermarkets have a business, and they find the business inside the business, and they don't only sell stuff, but they put the beer right next to the things that baby use to contain the English word spells me. Russ, help me here. What do the babies use when they pee on themselves?
The wipes or the nappies?
The diapers.
The diaper.
The American word is a diaper. Okay.
Beers next to the diapers, because they know that it's the dads who are buying the diapers, and they sell beer, and they start looking for the business inside the business. And I think that we ourselves should do that also. For example, in my case, I build guitars, but then I wrote a book about building guitars, and this is it.
That's another book, by the way.
It's another book about building guitars, and then I wrote another book about designing guitars.
So you're a writer as well.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I love to write, and I love to teach, and I love to share what I found out in case somebody is interested in that. And now I am writing a novel. What do I know about novels? Nothing. Right now, for me, this novel is a private hobby. I do it myself in my free time. And when it's ready, I will consult with some people who knows about the business to say, okay, this is good, this is not good. You try again until maybe there is another possibility for me in my evolution, in my personal evolution, incorporating things for different things. Writing these books, even if they are non-fiction, I understood a lot of concepts and a lot of ideas regarding organization of information, how to present, how to catch the reader and not let it go, I am incorporating, I am absorbing all of this, and then I will produce something with that. And you know what? I was thinking today. I was walking with my dog in the square. I thought this: we live in a world in which people gets comfortable adopting the spectator role, the role of watcher, spectator. No, you have tablets, you have a lot of screens around you, you have your smartphone, you have your computer, you have videos, but when do you become the protagonists of your life? There is a duality of this. I am a glad and very happy spectator of a lot of things. For example, music. Just as you, Russ, I have no musical talent, but I love music so much that I will not produce music in my life because I know that it will suck, But I get inspiration and energy from music, And I translate this energy and inspiration into guitars, into books, into other things, you know? So at least my spectator role is part of a pipeline of creativity that flows through me and creates other things.
Right.
You know? Another thing that life, John Lennon said, life is what happens to you when you are making other plans. You know? And,
yes.
I was completely head on to the corporate career. 3 kids, management. None of that happened. I don't have any kids. I never got manager. I never was a manager. Now I am CEO of my own company.
Look at that! Look at Steve Jobs now. Look at that.
But did you see the shift in how he spoke?
Absolutely,
right?
I've seen that.
You can just see the pride. It's amazing.
My company, 1 employee. I have no bosses, no employees. But I am the CEO. You know.
Nice.
And I have to mop the floors too. But I mean, I am the protagonist of this. You know. And me and my wife, because we have this small frustration, let's say, of not having kids, but it ended up being a freeing thing in the sense that we are free to do. And from this very apartment, which is 75 square meters or so, you have guitars coming out, books coming out. My wife organizes a photography contest, a photo marathon with 400 people taking photos 12 hours around Orville Ring, you know. And then she works for Tactical Tech, which is an organization that deals with empowering human rights activists in the use of technology in countries which are in which they are persecuted by the government. And I mean, a lot of goods, services, culture, a lot of things is created in this little generator of ideas, you know. Yeah, I was lucky. I was lucky in being able to do that. Not everyone has the same, has that easy. But yeah, you have to be an optimist. You have to think that there is a way to redesign your life, to make small adjustments, to make changes, to negotiate, and slowly, and you will find your path and start doing things that you enjoy more than things that can bring out your true talents, you know, true passion.
But you weren't lucky.
Yeah.
I don't believe you were lucky. I believe you made decisions and you took some risks and you thought outside of the box, to coin a phrase. I don't think you were lucky. I think somebody who looks at you and says, wow, Leo's so lucky he can do so many things, it's a defeatist attitude, because it isn't luck. You made your life. Nobody came to you and said, I don't know who you are, knocked on your door and said, I think you can make guitars. You made that decision.
Yeah, that's true.
And you made it happen.
That's true. I was working in the IBM for many years, and a point arriving in which I have chronic neck pains, panic attacks, dissatisfaction, you know, and it was the all consequence of being in this path, which and facing that, saying, okay, this is not what I want to do. In fact, I don't want to do this. Facing that moment is crucial, you know. It's a hard moment because that means that you are forced to make changes in life.
Yes.
And there are people with some complicated familiar situations, you know, people that depends on you, not only children, but probably, I don't know, someone who's sick. I mean, every family, every life is a universe, you know. But even in this situation, I mean, I think not all hope is lost. You have to try to see in which way you can a little bit approximate a more satisfying life.
I agree so much with Raz, actually. And, with what
you don't have to be Steve Jobs. You have to be yourself.
No, absolutely.
You know, Carl Jung, the psychologist, he said this is the most important mission of a man, becoming himself or herself, you know. And
what I was saying is, you know, if Raz didn't interrupt and say, you know, I don't believe that is luck, you know, I don't believe it either, because what you have is a passion, you know, inside you. There's a fire inside you, which is you didn't want to stay in this boring job or in this job that was killing you. You wanted to do something about it, which to me is you have this growth mindset, you know, which unfortunately, some people feel trapped in their day job, and to say, well, look, shit, I have this master's degree that I invested so much money in, and I have a status and I have a job title, and I cannot do anything else. Shit, what can I do else? This is my entire life. And there are more, and I'm not saying, and I'm not saying this like with this kind of attitude, because I was part of this as well. I was part of this kind of people, but there was this fear of letting go of something that which is very, very uncomfortable, but your shit, you know it. And to let it go and to go to something unknown is much more scary. And you did that. So is there any advice or things like just that can inspire people to do this as well? To say, well, look, you have maybe an interest. It's not a passion. Maybe you're not that good, but, what can they do in order to find this courage,
Two advices. First, think oh my God, English is fake. These people who bet on the stakes, investors in the stock market,
stockbrokers.
They put on each share, on each paper, they put a limit of loss. If the price of the stock of the share goes below some limit, they immediately sell. They limit the loss, and this is people expert in making a difference, in winning, not in losing. There are this. Why don't we do the same in our lives? I mean, okay, you made a master degree, you have a career, you're a mid-level manager, hopefully, or a high-level manager, or not a manager at all, but you already worked 17 years for this company. Okay, how much are you going to lose in this path? When are you putting the loss limit at this life? It's not that you are going to stand on your boss's desk and show him your butt, and say, I quit. No, you don't do that.
Although I think people should,
I just did that, by the way.
You can do it as long as it's not a risk for you, because if you have to pay the bills and everything. But you have to play chess. And this is the second advice. Play a little chess with your life. Start putting the pieces in position. You don't make checkmate in the first move. You start putting up, and then you make checkmate when you're ready. When you find another job, when you got good enough at this other thing, when you already verify that you can get somewhere doing this other thing that you like, So, in short, first advice: be courageous and decide what is, and find what you would really like to do. Putting together this talent, income, and pleasure or interest thing. When you found what you want to do, then start moving the pieces. Prepare and then you do checkmate when you can. It will maybe not be checkmate. Sounds a little drastic and everything, but you advance in that sense. And one day you will be, I don't know, your private hobby will turn up in a public hobby, and your public hobby will will turn into a business, which generates a little bit of income. And they say, okay, now is the moment probably to think, and what are these pieces of the chess? Okay, make sure, prepare a mattress of financial resources to take you through difficult times, get customers, get good at what you want to do, and you think like a strategist and prepare a scenario in which you have chances to win. And of course, all this, I don't want to fall in this rhetoric of self-help books, that say you can just do it, have the courage, because there is one thing behind of this, which is responsibility. You cannot take, if taking your personal risks is okay, but maybe when you take personal risks that are too high, maybe you are putting other people that depend on you also in that risk. So be responsible, be clever, do it with some thought, with some creativity and responsibility, and and sense of yeah. But you have to do it at some point. You have to do it. You have to do it. Also, at some point, you have to stop. Not only we talk about stop being the spectator and start being the protagonist of things, but also you have to stop being the student. Right. I have many friends who finished college and they stayed in college. Doing, I don't know, like they didn't have necessarily a strong inclination to pursue an academic career, but it was a comfortable environment. They already had their diploma. They could make, assistant professor, and then in a few years be a professor, or maybe study a second discipline. They were engineers in computer sciences, and then they started studying something else. And okay, at some point you have to change sides in the classroom. You stop being the one listening, and you have to stand in front and start speaking. Of course, you know that learning and teaching is a process. It's not the only directional. But at some point, you have to share what you learned.
Just like Raz, she's sharing at the moment. I'm following her website. Right now, she's a freaking awesome specialist. So at the moment, and I'm just
she's sharing. I have Raz. I just learned about you a few practically hours ago when Olivier told me that you will be sitting in this conversation, but. You are sharing what is the most valuable thing, which is your life experiences, okay, anyone can read a book and then repeat what he read in the book to someone else. But when you share what you live, that's a true teacher, the person that, okay, you cannot tell me I'm wrong because I knew this for a fact because it's my life and this worked this way. And I think that things should be this way. And I mean, this gives you credibility and authority in what you do,
And plus, she has a perfect English as well. You look just like a dictionary, Raz. Sorry, I'm just bothering you.
It's my native language, and if it wasn't a strength, it would be a problem, quite a major problem. I wanted to just go back to something that you said earlier, Leo, and I think you touched on it a little bit as well, Olivier, which is about when somebody is... let's say, a 40-something-year-old person who has a marriage and children and a job, and they'll wake up one day and they look at their life and they think, I hate my life. I love my kids, but I kind of don't like them today. I'm not sure if I really love my wife, really hate my boss, can't stand my job. I don't enjoy what I do for 8 hours of the day. And they're in that position where nothing is going their way. And then they look at somebody, let's just say Steve Jobs, who's somebody who's successful, and they look at him and go, wow, he's living the life I want. How do I get there? I think there is a point where people that don't take action are the ones that want to be Steve Jobs today, not go through all the work that Steve Jobs had to do, all the failures that he had to experience, all of the depression, no money, losses, all that stuff. They kind of want things immediately. So is there something similar to someone who thinks that way, to people that are multi-talented, that do not take the steps to pursue a talent?
That's the challenge we Da Vinci Curse face, because everyone's, this was said by a luthier, master luthier, William Compiano, everyone wants to be, but no one wants to become. And the key is to become. To become, for people with many interests and talents, is difficult, because when you are becoming something, you face challenges, you face difficulties, and that's, there is something else. Oh, that's what I want to do. And then you run after something else, and you get nowhere this way. So challenge is to stay the path, stay the course, and to the course, and to reach small milestones, and reaching small milestones is how you become something. You cannot be magically. And Raz, talking about, you said about your boss and your wife, I think that these two are the most important relationships one person can have. Your partner or your boss. You know, your children, of course. I mean, but your children are your children. I mean, in terms of what makes your life happy or miserable, I think that your partner and your boss are the most important. And the thing is, suppose that you are, I am nobody to give relationship advice. I don't feel completely.
I think that's your next book now, Leo.
Exactly, you need to do that.
Why would you look in what? Okay, I have been 25 years married. I will not throw everything away right now. Okay, because you are looking at the past. But what is from here now on? You know. That doesn't mean that you have to leave your partner and start. That means that maybe you can recompose things, that you can work it out, that maybe you don't love this person. Maybe you're gay and you have to look for a different partner in more than one sense. I don't know. Each person has this. I have it again. No, this is luck, guys. I'm sure. This is 100% like luck. I love my wife and I love my boss, which is myself. You know?
How different would it be if your boss was your wife?
What's a great question?
She is sometimes, because I have her projects and she...
Of course she is.
She used me as...
She's the real boss.
She's the real boss.
She uses me as unqualified workforce. I do boxes and this kind of thing.
But actually, you're right regarding the bosses, because there was this book. I forget the name of the book, but the guy did a study of post-exit interviews, and basically for 26 or 27% of the people, the vast majority, basically, the first cause was the managers. Their manager, they quit or they exit the company because of management, not because of the pay, not because of the environment, just because of their managers. So that's extremely important, right? So so that's why I don't have any boss myself as well. We're all self-employed, basically. This is what we all.
We are all bosses of ourselves.
And if you're not, at least you have the possibility of have a boss that maybe is an example to you. Maybe you are already in the career you want to do, in what you like, and your boss is the example you want to. Maybe you are that lucky and having someone to look up to and to learn from. That's the ideal boss, you know. And the worst boss in the world is a lovely guy in a crappy shop, you know. You are doing a crappy job, but your boss is so, oh, you're doing great. Go ahead. Thank you for your collaboration. And you feel so well and so good that you stay in this crappy job because your boss is a lovely guy. That's the worst boss, you know. I would love a strong leader, a strong demanding person any day of the week, because at least I will understand that this is not for me and look for someone else.
There's no bullshit. There's no bullshit when a boss is good to you, because they tell you what you're good at and tell you what you need to work on or you're not so good at.
I have been that boss, you know. I enjoy working with other people sometimes, and I was working on a company doing as a supervisor for the customer service for Italy, and I had 24 Italians working for me in my team, and they are so fun and they are so lovely, and I enjoyed that too much. And some of them were completely unsatisfied with this job, and if I have been a little harder on them, they would have left earlier.
You meant money for the company, man. That's what it counts. Money for the company, not the satisfaction of the employees. Fuck it. Okay. So you had one question, Raz, but then I have another very important question after. So Raz, what was, you had a question or something, or no?
I had a question. My question was for somebody who is in that position where they want to choose a talent, whether they hate their job or hate their partner or whatever, they have a talent or they have many that they want to choose from. What advice would you give them if they asked you, how do I know if this is a talent that I should pursue?
Yes, for a person who has many interests and talents and everything, the solution is a heterogeneous thing. It has to be complex. It cannot be something simple, you know. It has to be something like we talked before, something in which you could find the hobby inside the hobby, or the business inside the business, and something multifaceted, you know, polyfaceted. If you do something very specific like painting, okay, I love to paint. I suck at painting, but I could paint, but I would get bored very soon. I could get bored very soon. Maybe I would be an artist. I would like to mirror painting and sculptures and installations. Okay, that's more complicated, you know. And this is the thing, making something that is not completely specialized, but that demands from you the application of these several talents and interests that you supposedly have. It has to be a challenge for you, because otherwise you will get bored, you know.
That's true.
That's the only thing I could think of as a reasonable way of pursuing and putting focus in one thing, you know.
Okay.
It has to be everything.
Okay, we are coming to the end of this interview, and we need to do the real stuff now, Leo. Okay, all this shit that we talked about, we need to forget that. Okay, because now this is the time, the real time. We have 3 minutes or 5 minutes to talk about freaking guitars now. That's the most important thing, you know. You're here because of a guitar thing, not about the book, you know. Yes. Look, I have 12 guitars here at home. I'm a passionate guitarist. Tell me everything. Tell me about your guitars. That's the stuff that I wanted to hear, really. Sorry.
He's been itching to ask you this question for the best part of 55 minutes.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, guitars are very polyfaceted and complicated. You have a lot of talents and demanding.
But I have a question for you, because, you know, I have 2 guitars made by luthier. I can show them to you if you want. But the interesting thing is the luthiers, they don't know, the 2 luthiers that I made with guitars, they don't know how to play guitar, basically. Or they are very, very, you know, they just know how to make chords, but that's it. They don't know how to play it. Is it the case for you as well?
Yes, I play guitar, but I play just enough as to know if my guitars are any good, or how to perfectly set them up for a musician to enjoy this instrument, you know. But I don't. You ask me to play a song, I won't do it.
Yeah, and that's fascinating to me. That's fascinating that you can build a fucking amazing. I can see the guitar just behind you, and I'm just salivating for 55 minutes. I'm just like, oh, for God's sake, I want that thing. Okay, just hold on for a minute. Let me show yours now. It starts like to be like a dick contest. Like, sorry, Raz, sorry about that.
I can't join a dick contest, guys, or a guitar contest for that matter.
So. Yeah, I know how to I make cards and things.
That's beautiful, Olivier.
Okay, so for the people who don't have a video, fuck you, because you need to have a video. Sorry, I shouldn't curse my listeners, my only listener. But really, we are just showing these guitars made by Kurt Schoen, and he made this guitar from dynamite crates, basically.
Nice.
Which is basically, and that's to me, this is the beauty. This is like something made exactly what you described. It's just you make something, you know. It's not like artificial, you know, replicating. This is the passion made by hand of someone, and it has character. And this is, I can see your guitar, and immediately you have a signature. This is your guitars. This is something about you, which makes it very, very special. And to me, if you can do this, having your signature in something, just like yours, you know, in your website or your services, which is very, very unique, and that's why I love you so much by what you do. I think we'll be okay if everyone can find this true signature. Do I sound like a true master philosopher? No. Or a total dickhead?
No. You know, I think what's really interesting is when you said that people that make guitars generally don't know how to play. Let's say that's a fact. I think that's really interesting, because most people that are their own bosses, they own their own business, and they have a small company, they are not interested in having multiple employees. They automatically assume they have to be good at everything that they do. So I have to be a marketeer, a salesperson, the tech person, operations, customer service, all of it. But when you look at somebody who's building a guitar, the guy doesn't even know how to play the damn thing. And yet he makes something that is technically correct, and somebody else creates a masterpiece from it, which is a piece of music. So why is it that in our businesses, we assume we have to be good at everything? How about we're good at one thing, maybe 2 or 3 things, and somebody else can be good at the other stuff that also makes us create a masterpiece of our own?
Exactly. And this is another key, I think, this is a very important point. In which phase of the process you fit in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for example, if Da Vinci, this is an example taken from the book. If Da Vinci wanted to make a film today, he would do this film with a camera designed by him, built by him. He would make the director, and he would also develop the bulb which lights the scenario. I mean, but this camera will never be as good as a Panasonic or whatever, and the movie will never be as good as Spielberg's. And why? Because Spielberg knows how to make a movie. This guitar, I give it to a friend, a fantastic musician. He makes it sing like a bird, but he could not make. He couldn't. If I give him a saw to just saw a piece of wood, he wouldn't know how to do it because he's a musician. He's not a builder or an engineer. I mean, in which part of the process you fit? Are you a visionary as Steve Jobs, who puts his mind in a tablet that you can play with your fingers? Or are you the designer that designs the actual thing? Are you the engineer that puts the electronics together and really make the real concrete thing? Are you the marketer who sells this tablet? Are you the lawyer who represents the company in a lot of problems with the justice and the taxes they have? I mean, in which part of the business you fit in? If you are truly Da Vinci Curse, you will fit in more than one, or you have to find a way to combine the things that most interest you. And this is a balance you have to keep. Make it homogeneous, but make it focused. It's a challenge. It's not easy.
Leo, I can. You need to come to Paris, by the way, to visit us.
Yes, you do.
Because you're such an interesting character and guy. I love you. Really, it's really
I'm a fan. I'm buying your book.
Exactly.
I'm living on your website.
No, you're really passionate. You're passionate. You're full of life, and you're so wise. And you're making freaking guitars, which is the best thing of all. By the way, that's why you're here. And I loved this episode for sure. So it was very, 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 very nice. All the things that you said. And Raz, by the way, thank you also for being on this show.
Thank you for inviting me. I feel like I was invited on the best one as co-host.
I will never. Yeah, you remember that you've been here. I invited you for your own show, so you want shit. That's why.
Of course, my interviews in its own box of awesomeness, but this was just phenomenal. I've really, really enjoyed it without, not having a guitar behind me. I should have bought mine now, but no.
Now you need one. You need to order one from Leo. Leo, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. It was a really, really fantastic pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.